So a little bit of sharing and then we'll begin. For this series is the last day. So uh, first of all, we're doing many different practices and steps, and you will find that in each course things evolve. It becomes a little bit different here and there, but the basics will be the same. So at one point, we need to give time for some of these tiny practices. But most of the time, when we move into sadhana, you should not follow steps. Actually, when I'm doing sadhana, I don't follow steps. Like, for example, from yesterday, 10 a.m., I've been in this room. I just wanted to give myself a deeper sadhana. But actually, I've not had a good sadhana the whole of yesterday up until today. I'm just sharing so that you're aware. I went through more frustration rather than a good sadhana, just for you to let you know. And that was because I was not practicing, I was not putting any step. All my limitations were one by one shown up to me. And I was like, okay, this is too much. I'll work on it. So there are times when we should not put a step. We should be inside the body. We should connect to something so that newer things evolve. It's a um, the best thing that I've shared so far was what I shared last time. The deeper body work is modeling the divine. That's how I understand it right now. You're simply modeling the divine, or rather, you're allowing the divine to do the sadhana into you. Both are together. So more sometimes do the practice as steps that you have learned here. Otherwise, just simply go in, connect, and you have to wait. You have to wait. You will go through frustration, nothing is happening. And then suddenly there will be an inspiration. Follow it. That practice that comes will be far good. Like, for example, for me, I had the first breakthrough today morning when I was exercising on the terrace. After about 10 a.m. yesterday, up until 4, it was all a very flat sadhana. And then at 4 o'clock, I had the first insight. And it was something different from the practices that I've done so far. So give yourself that leverage. Today, it's going to be very simple. We're not going to do much. We're just going to be inside. And what I'm trying to tell you, allow things to emerge is we're going to do. So today, I won't be observing you all. We'll just do sadhana. Only one thing I would detail it out is we spoke about being alone inside the body. Okay. Now, there is one thing I'm discovering in this is when you go alone inside, normally the first thing that you experience when you're quiet is a certain blankness or a certain void. Long back when I was doing a long one-to-one for a person, almost to save that person, the person was already advanced, but there were a lot of blank states inside the body, and it was almost like death. Okay. Now, so when you go alone and you be there, one is you'll get a blank state or nothingness or a void. That's fine. But there's another state which is also coming, and the closest to describe it is transparency or pure white or full white. Okay. The second is better. So that alone we will explore today, how to stay quiet. The rest of it, whatever emerges. And once again, to repeat, spend a lot of time by not doing any particular step and allow the step to come through. Okay, we'll close our eyes. We'll begin. Try and trace silence today. Let's first trace silence today. So without following steps, you just follow the guidance that I give and make your own step today. I'll only give the guidance. Steps will be yours. Trace the silence that is present above your head. The silence can be above your head or within you or around you. You're just tuning in to silence. And as you're aware of the silence, become aware of the breath in your nostril region. Stay with your breath in the nostril and become aware of the descending aspect of the silence. And you will notice the descent sensorially, like a pressure pushing down, or even as an image. You may notice it outside you in the air. You may notice within you in your being, or you may notice the descent inside your body. We are focusing on the movement of descent of the silence, either around you or within you or within your body. Any thoughts that you have or questions that you have is different from the awareness itself, which is trying to detect the descent. Now, Leave yourself open to this silent descent. And just bring your awareness to some part of your body. And it's almost like you're hugging with deep love. You're hugging this body substance, compressing. Your hugging is a embrace. It's a condensation, is a compression. And then let go the hug and don't put any step. Watch what occurs. Any descent that is there, be aware. Now, by itself, so there are two movements. One is a descent, and the other is a depth. In any part of your body, is there a movement occurring from the surface to go deep into the body substance? For some of you, you could detect this easily in your chest. For some of you, other locations. By itself, is there a movement of depth, like a flow of awareness or a movement into the body's substance? Now, look around and locate a part of your body which feels stuck. And your breath will indicate it, because the moment you put your awareness there, if it is too strong, you'll feel as if you can't breathe properly. And now, if the part is really stuck, you won't feel comfortable going in there. Your awareness will be thrown out normally. And that's because unconsciously we'll be identifying with the experiences there. So go within that part, which is little bit or a lot stuck, and learn to stand within alone. And here you have to figure your own way. If you go within and if you start getting entangled with the experience, in your own way, step back so that you can be there alone and apart. Now, to stand alone, it needs some anchor point in the beginning. Otherwise, unconsciously, you will identify with the experience. Stand alone by itself in itself. So, stand alone as the breath, stand alone as the consciousness. If you do that correctly, you will feel a presence which is different from the experience. The stand alone could just be at a tiny point, but which has a reference of your breath or consciousness and is not attached to the experience here. In the beginning, this stand-alone state may not have a firm base. It feels as if it could be in some nothingness or void or dark blankness, which by itself is a good start, but it's not enough. So this stand alone needs to rest so that it becomes a living presence. So in a tiny point in that space, you can fill it with your breath. Also, unconsciously try and detect an invisible layer here. It is transparent. And it is often felt as an image of transparency, or you feel it as a current. You feel it as a super fast flow, but it is there. So the discovery of this is dangerous to the normal mind. So often there will be some resistances thrown towards us. And you may feel the doubt or not able to do it, but that's all fine. Intuitively aspire to rest on an invisible field. Rest your awareness, standing alone from the experience on an invisible field. Now, with this awareness of standing apart and alone, with that, hug that particular body part which is holding some tension or illness or is stuck. So it is from this standing apart, resting on something transparent, from that, even if we don't fully get it, intuitively from that, hug the body substance and its experience. And now the play of will come. The part that is holding the difficulty will have a will of illness, will have a will of rigidity, and that will persist. The will of being free needs to override all other wills. But this will should be calm, without effort, and at the same time should be intense. So without any steps, you figure your own way, that you're hugging the body part there along with its experience and noticing the will of the current state strong. You enhance your will. The will to be free, the will to be offered to the higher. From that state of being free, as you hug the substance along with its experiences current, keeping a will steady to be free, as you hug it closer and closer, look for where is love. A state of love that stands on its own, which does not need an object to love, but self-exists. You're just looking for, as you hug and hug and hug and make the substance closer with all its experiences. Where is love? How does it feel like? What is its color? And you have to drop all your known knowledge of this is the color of love, this is how it feels like. And simply stand naked without knowing anything, without resting on anything, without clinging on to anything. There, amidst the body's substance and its experience, stand purely naked with an aspiration. Where is love? Now just let go, and without putting a step, just be there for a few moments and watch what unfolds. Now, any insights that are coming to you, do that on your own for the next few minutes. Now, take one cell or one point somewhere in your body. Now, your mind may say, I don't know how to go to a cell. It doesn't matter. You go microscopic, microscopic, minute, minute, minute. Somewhere in your body, in a specific spot or a general spot, go to the tiniest point or cell you can be with. In that cell, stand alone, stand apart from the experiences. In that tiny cell or point, as you stand apart or alone, do you sense a darkness or a void? Or do you sense a more wholesomeness, white, transparency, or invisibility? What do you sense? Now, look into that cell or that point. Be with it. What do you see? What do you feel inside? Sometimes when we do like this, the cell would seem as if it has enlarged. That's fine. Or it could still be a tiny point. Both are fine. What do you see within that point or cell? Often you may see both a little bit light or joy and also some entanglement. connect this point or cell to a higher vibration that you may find in, say, samadhi, or an extraordinary photograph of a divine or master, or connect this cell or point to a higher state, wherever it is for you, which is pure joy or pure vastness. If you have identified your divine master, you can do this in a tangible way as well. You can connect this point or cell to the subtle body of your divine master and simply wait. There is no step now. That cell or point, you're connecting to the divine or higher, but your aspiration, will, and surrender is important. So you were in the posture of alone, unattached to the experience, but now start leaning into the higher or divine from that point. Without effort, without effort. From that point or cell, start to lean into the divine subtle body or higher state to identify with it more and more. Accept both. You're able to connect, you're not able to connect. And that's the beauty of sadhana. That's what I mentioned. Sometimes it is flat. Sometimes we're able to do it. We should be really open to both. Either which way, whether there's the experience of connect from self to the divine or not, with full faith, you can practice sensorial receptivity, sensorial surrender. The state of surrender will have a quality of vulnerability inside. It'll have a movement like the opening of a flower sensorially. Sensorially, if you identify with the flower's opening, you would understand what is that sensation of surrender or receptivity. So, grouping your inner senses into that cell or close to that, sensorially widen, flatten, open up, melt inwardly to experience that vulnerability. Do it in your own way so that sensorially you're exploring surrender or receptivity. Practice this in few other cells or points in your body, just putting your attention, maybe simultaneous awareness into multiple points. Connect them to the divine, subtle body or a higher state, and sensorially invoke that posture of receptivity there in the many points. could be some place where the rigidity or discomfort or illness is so high that it resists the widening or receptivity sensation, which means the will of the limitation is higher. Calmly persist. Find your own way. Calmly persist, saying, no matter what, receptivity is a sensation that'll be here. Eject or reject that will of stubborn attachment to the limitation by the calm will to be free and unite with the higher. And slowly establish that sensation of receptivity or surrender in each of the cells. Continue on your own as long as you have. And when you want to complete, give a few minutes of not doing anything, allowing the steps to happen on its own or the proper process to happen on its own.